Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another thrilling episode, another episode on all things well-being. This is Dr. Kimberly Quinn here to discuss today the whole idea of the over-seriousness issue in this country and how we would all benefit from lightening up. So to begin, I did a podcast interview yesterday with a friend of mine at Champlain, Jared Cadret, and he inspired me. And he and I are very kindred spirits. We're all about authenticity and fun and all this. And I knew it would be, entertaining. Jared's very animated. He's just a bubble. I love him. And he kind of like went off in a direction that was even better actually than what originally, we had just kind of tossed around. And his message really inspired me to do this podcast because we start out, he's director of student engagement, and I'll put the link also in this for you in case you want to watch it. And so we went off in a way of just authentic, just bringing your authentic self to work with you and being playful and fun. And this kind of led me or inspired me to do a whole thing on Lighten Up because we have gotten way too serious. And if we think about, we just don't need in any given day to take things that seriously, right? Life throws curveballs at us. Some of them are fast and hard. We all know that, like, a death in the family, a crisis, you get that bad phone call. And that's when we really need to hone in, with all of our cognitive, emotional, spiritual juice and get through it. And yet often stay at DEFCON 4 for not much, if any reason. And of course, I did a YouTube last few days, I forget, on life isn't an emergency, and this is just kind of a spin off on that one because we often treat life, everyday, regular life, as if it were an emergency. Or even if we look at the spectrum, with emergency being on the far right, peaceful times on the far left, and the middle being urgency, right? And I also did a whole thing on question, fact check when we get that urgency feeling. Is this real? Because I think we've gotten really conditioned. And this was true before the Rona. We can't really fully blame the Rona for this. Though, that said, without question, I would say the Ronavirus added to that, right? Because then we got in this state of DEFCON 4 times, 10. And, as you all know, I read voraciously. I'm interested in just many, many things. And also, of course, all things, positive psychology oriented. And I also, well, I don't think I own all of them, but I own several, one, two, three, at least three, of Richard Carlson's books on Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. It's a series. And even if, you don't get into each, and they're really, really good, but each little thing, and they're also in short little, like, digestible chapters, like page or two each, which I really like. I think most of us in this age of technology have a shortened attention span, so that's really great. However, his main message with Don't Sweat the Small Stuff is most of it's small stuff. Most of what we go through in a day is small, yet we treat it like it's huge. We get out of bed and put on our stockings and we got to run in our stockings and you think the house was on fire. It's just a run in stockings that are, $5.99 at the grocery store. Like, who cares? It derails you for maybe 10 milliseconds. You put on another pair, or you change up your outfit, or you forgot to take out the chicken and you get home, you're like, oh my gosh, and then I got to pay all this money for takeout, or I got to resort to canned stuff or TV dinner. Okay, so learn from it. Who cares? It's kind of like, not to be on a soapbox, but if we flip that around to the gratitude thing, at least I have a backup plan, right? There are plenty of people who don't. I don't mean to be that person. I really don't. The idea is it's all about the mindset. Or I did take out the chicken and now I just overcooked it because I got wrapped up in, another a Netflix a Netflix binge while I was waiting, and now I overcooked it and it's dry. Okay, a little trick for that one is, if have a salad with Italian dressing and dunk it in the salad dressing in your salad. Takes care of the dry chicken. Not an emergency, not even an urgency. And so, really, the over seriousness thing is something that, in my opinion, is important to look at in this country because I don't want to be like severe, like super intense and say, oh, it's an epidemic, because that word is so tossed around. too much, I think, especially given being in the wake of a pandemic. However, however is just a fancy way to say but, right? But anyway, and however, I think most of us would agree that we fall into this state of over seriousness way more than is necessary. And, just like anything else in life, the first step is admitting there's a problem. So you could say, like, you show up at the church, and its meeting is in the basement, and we say, hello, my name is, and my name is, Melissa, and I'm struggling with over seriousness. And I'm not poking fun at any of the 12 step programs in case anybody's thinking that. I'm using it as an example because I'm a huge fan of the 12 step program. And I've got family who are in recovery. It is a good example because what I'm saying with seriousness is that the first step to any problem is admitting that it's there, right? To admitting that, and you don't have to use the word problem. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to think I have a problem. Okay. So admit that, or, come to the awareness, maybe not admit, that sounds so court of lawish, right? So come into the awareness of whatever I am currently doing is no longer working for me. I think that's the best way to say it. This behavior I'm currently engaged in is no longer working for me. It has me feeling not good about myself, or depleted or drained, or all the above, or whatever. And so this habit of taking life way too seriously is not a behavior I would like to continue. And so when we kind of come into the awareness of that, this is the first step, because we can look at it objectively, hopefully without judgment, because just like anything else, or most things, over seriousness is contagious. If you've ever stood around a bunch of negative Nellies and like, oh my God, oh, it's raining. Oh, it's raining. The next one's, "Oh, no, it's my day off and it's raining. Oh, my baby." And before you know it, your positive self is like, "Oh, is it? Maybe I should get an umbrella." Like it, we kind of it can transfer over to us, and the super serious crew can like infect us with their super serious, vibe. And so it's really important to be aware of it because it's all so unnecessary. And we think of our life minutes, how they're sliding down the rabbit hole when we allow ourselves to be too freaking serious. It's ridiculous. We need to spend, or hopefully spend, our life minutes like they are cash. And in fact, Richard Carlson, in one of his Don't Sweat the Small Stuff books, says this. He says, the root of being uptight is our unwillingness to accept life as being different in any way from our expectations. Very simply, we want things to be a certain way, but they're not a certain way. Life is simply as it is. Perhaps Benjamin Franklin said it best. Our limited perspective, our hopes and fears become our measure of life. And when circumstances don't fit our ideas, they become our difficulties. Well said, Ben. We spend our life wanting things. Oh, I can't get going enough on that. We spend our life wanting things, people and events to be just as we want them to be. And then when we're not, when they are not, we fight and we suffer. This is so amazing. And John Kabat-Zinn, because I have to wrap the mind or inject, or I don't know, bring up the mindfulness thing here, because JKZ himself, talks about the very idea. Stress is, which is actually, well, it's actually anxiety, but let's just not mess up a quote. Stress is, wanting the present moment to be something other than it is. Think about that. If the blown tire, or the person said whatever, did whatever, wasn't what we expected, the meeting didn't go the way we wanted, the rehearsal dinner maybe had a little slip, so and so forgot the cake or brought the cake and brought a different cake, and like, oh, no, oh my God, it's a DEFCON 4, 911, cake 911. No. And when we want the present moment to be something other than it is when we flip out instead of going with the flow. Now, obviously, that can be a tough sell when a different cake showed up. Think about that, though. Third, big, huge third world problem. Yeah, we can just get so wrapped up in, and the blown tire thing, it's typically not the blown tire that's actually the problem. It's that we're on our late to a date, we're on our way to work, we're on our way to school, we're on our way to pick somebody up, we're on our way to the mall, we're on our way to somewhere. There's usually not a good time for a tire to blow. However, if you think about it, it's not the tire blowing, that is causing the stress. It's the expectation that we are going to have a smooth ride to said date, work, school, the mall, or to pick somebody up. It's that expectation not happening and being disappointed that the expectation did not happen that is actually causing all those emotions, the stress, the frustration, being pissed off, being resentful because you didn't check it and so didn't check it and you were just there for a tune up and what's the matter with that mechanic, and all of that starts up all because of expectations and wanting the present moment to be something other than it is. And then Richard Carlson actually just restates what I was thinking. The first step in recovering from over seriousness is to admit that you have a problem. You have to want to change. Oh my gosh, is that true? We can't change people. We think we can. We can't. He says you have to want to change to become more easygoing. You have to want to become more easygoing. Well said, Richard Carlson. You have to see that your own uptightness is largely of your own creation. It's composed of the way you have set up your life and the way you react to it. That is so excellent. Okay, so we set it up with expectations. That's our doing. People don't jump into our head and create an expectation. That's us. We do that. They might set the stage. You might pull things from people, what they've said outside of us. That's still all outside of us. We create our own expectations. Why? Because we are the authors and playwrights of our own script. We then react. Remember, react is like a fast action versus respond. Responding is more slowed down, usually works out better for us. React is like a knee jerk, like when an old school doctor would tap you on the knee and you'd swing your knee forward. Reacting doesn't generally work out for us, with a few exceptions. And then he says, the next step is to understand the link between your expectations and your frustration level. Whenever you expect something to be a certain way and it isn't, you're upset and you suffer. On the other hand, when you let go of your expectations, when you accept life as it is, you're free. To hold on is to be serious and uptight. To let go is to lighten up. Oh my God, words of wisdom. And I'll tell you, again, there are certainly positives to being the proud prodigy of two alcoholic parents. And I mean that genuinely, right? Because I learned early on, amongst the chaos and turbulence and violence and all that stuff, to not have expectations. I really didn't, and this is not a bad thing. A lot of bad stuff comes out of the dysfunction. This is a good thing, because I genuinely just don't have that. And each and every day I set an intention in my Jeep, because that's where I can focus after people move around the house and doing what they're doing. I can get in the Jeep and I'm off to Champlain. I can set an intention. And so any of you who want to set an intention to be less serious, to lighten up, this is one good way to start. And it's simple. And I would suggest to do it for a week. If you want it to become a habit, 21 days is the average time a habit will shift and stick. Set the intention, say it right out loud in the vehicle. My intention today is to not have expectations. So, one example of this would be, I do not have the expectation to have my ride into work be smooth. We are not saying to go the other route and predict and attract problems. We're not saying I expect to have problems on the way to work either. We're just saying the bar's not set so high that I'll get there on time or 15 minutes early with no traffic. We're not saying that. Just no expectations at all. It's neutral. It's neutral. If you have meetings, expecting them to end on time, we all know that doesn't always happen. So not to go through each and every one of these, just to have your intention in your vehicle, let's say now or tomorrow morning. My intention for today is to not have any expectations. It's neutral. This way, because I can tell you from growing up, things are half full a lot of the time. You end up early. I have it happen constantly when I fly. I have no expectations. Anybody who's flown a bunch in their lives, which I have, you have those times where you get delayed. You may even get stuck in an airport once in a while. And that helps to really shine the light brightly when things are smooth. And I have no expectations. It could go any which way but loose. And the last, I don't know how many times I've flown, like a lot, probably, I don't even know, a bunch. They've either been on time or early. And it's half full. It's like, yay! And I do this little clap in the seat or in my head, because, we're early. So just to have just no expectations at all. And then, looks like Richard Carlson says something similar. A good exercise is to try to approach a single day without expectations. We kind of just said that. So for me, it's setting an intention. So I would try this for one day, see how it goes for that day. If you like it, try it for a week. If you want to stick into a habit, try for 21 days. Remember, whatever we practice, we inevitably get good at. Also, because I've really been into, chatting about the authentic self lately. In that podcast I did yesterday with my friend Jared, he really, sort of tapped into the idea of the authentic self and the reality of when we live and reside in the highest version of ourself, which is what we're talking about with authenticity. It's the highest version of ourself. The authentic self is light. The authentic self doesn't have expectations. The authentic self doesn't need appreciation, doesn't need to be right, doesn't need to judge, isn't judging the person who's coming in 5 minutes late, even if it's been every single time for a month. The authentic self feels very much enough as they are, and the authentic self is light and playful. It can have fun at work, and so that's important too. When we lighten up, just like when the negative Nellies spread their negativity and it can just pick up on us, we good vibes rub off on people too. And if you lighten up, you will be doing not just yourself a favor, but everybody around you a favor, because it spreads. So when we don't have expectations, we are being our authentic self. We sort of naturally yield to the meeting going over, to the traffic thing, to I forgot to take out the chicken. We naturally yield. We naturally yield, and rather than resisting life, we learn to kind of be in a dance with it. We can change the dance as we go along. So here's the thing. This is the great note to end up on. Is just lighten up, have fun. Lighten up, have fun. Spread the positivity. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from Northern Vermont. Have a mindful, very light day.